You guys want to hear the story of why I am single? Here's what happened with the whole relationship thing. Do you have your popcorn? You all know what I do for a living. How I went about dating Ladybug was when we first started dating. She's known me for 6 years. Before our first date, I told her, take 24 hours. This is what I do for a living. If you're not okay with it, clean slate. We're cool. Like, we could just stay friends. It's dope. I don't care. I go on podcasts pretty regularly to talk about my job. One of the podcasts that I was on released the night before our wedding. In my opinion, the podcast was pretty tame. Like, I talk about what I do for work, but I don't go into too much detail about it. You know what I mean? If you haven't listened to it, the link is in my bio. One of the people that is hosting the podcast knows everyone in town, but only knows like deviants of town, right? So like me. Now, remember, I am from Charlotte. This is my hometown. So the podcast comes out, and the only way that you would be able to even see the post is if you're friends with him, or if you're in the industry, or if you run in that circle. Her sister hears the preview for the podcast, calls Ladybug and says, "Did you hear this? It is vulgar and so embarrassing. All of my TikToks, that's all I talk about. I'm just talking about my job that you supposedly already know that I do. This shouldn't be a shock to you." Instead of Ladybug defending me, calls me and says, "Tell him to take that shit down now. Did you not hear what you said on that thing?" And I was like, "No, but I lived it." I call the guy who is running the podcast, and I'm like, "Hey, I didn't know you were going to post that to like your personal Facebook. Could you pretty please take that down?" So he takes it down. He's like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was going to cause problems. My bad." So he took it down off of Facebook, but the podcast is still up, right? Then she says, "I see that he took it down, but the podcast is still up on Spotify." And I said, "Yeah, and like, it's still my job." You know what the craziest part is? So the online stuff is strictly me. I'm the only one in the group that does online stuff. Her sister, and her friends all used to dance. First off, what the fuck? My mom said they don't have a fucking leg to stand on. The whole day she was not responding to me, not answering my text messages, very angry with me. And I was like, "I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't know this was going to be like a huge deal. This is why I tell you what I do for a living before we even started dating." I was like, she's like, "I respect your job, but it's interfering with my job. What if my job found out? This is my town. It's embarrassing to me." When we go to bed, she doesn't give me a kiss goodnight. She's not affectionate. She doesn't say anything nice to me. She doesn't even look at me. In the morning, I was like, "Hey, I see you're still mad at me, but like, are we still getting married?" And then she's like, "Ugh, oh my God, just go away." And I was like, "All right, I'm excited to get married to you too." I gather all my things, all my makeup and things to get ready for the wedding. And on my way to the wedding, or to get ready at my mom's house, I didn't know if we were still getting married, if she was still mad at me. And I get to my mom's house, and I need to update my mom on everything, right? I walk in the door, and I'm crying already. And my mom was like, "What's going on?" And I look at my sister, who knows everybody knows what I do for a living. I haven't really talked with my mom about it. Like, she kind of knows that at some point I worked at a club, but she doesn't know the ins and outs, right? I don't ever tell her when I'm working or if I'm working, or I don't talk about it. So when I walked through the door, I said, "Mom, what I'm about to tell you, I don't want questions. I don't want reactions. I just need you to hear me, because I have to tell you what's going on, because I don't know what to do." And I said, "Mom, I'm a dancer." So anyway, and Ladybug calls me to yell at me again and tell me, "Do you see my side of things? Do you not understand why I'm embarrassed?" And she was like, "Why would I marry a fucking stripper?" And then I said, "So I guess you're not excited to get married." And she said, "Would you be?" And I was like, "Yeah, I would. I would be excited." And then she's like, "Whatever, just let her do your hair and just get ready. Let's just get this fucking over with." And I was like, that's not the attitude that I want my future wife to have on our wedding day. My heart rate is so high, my watch told me that I just completed a ring. And so I said, I'm not going to get ready. I guess we need to post. This is the second wedding. She wasn't complaining about my job when I got her a brand new car, when I got her an iPad, a new iWatch, a new Apple iPhone, all the diamonds that I've bought her, like $30,000 in diamonds. The new laptop, the Yeezys, the Louis Vuitton shoes. She wasn't complaining during all of the trips that we've taken together. She's like, just get fucking ready. She's like, I'll be at the park. I'll be waiting for you. I'll be over there. And I said, what the fuck? Why would you do that? I was like, we're not getting married. This is not where we need. I was like, we need to talk about this. She texted me a ton, and then she calls me again. She goes, listen, I'm not about to come over there and talk with you and blast your business in front of your mom, because she knows my mom doesn't know. And I said, don't worry. I already told her. I told her as soon as I walked in the door. She said, oh, but did you tell your mom about the podcast? Does your mom know? How about I just send your mom the podcast and she can listen to it for herself? I said, okay. Hey, mom, she's going to send you the podcast. And my mom said, she can send anything she GD pleases. She's like, I'm not opening that shit. I'm not going to look at it. And I was like, all right, cool. And then Ladybug was like, where's your mom right now? I was like, she's right next to me. Why? She's like, sorry, I didn't mean to make you tell her what you do for a living. And I was like, oh, it's too late for that. We are way past that. So I said, why didn't you defend me to your sister? And she said, would you have? Do you not hear yourself when you talk about your job? And I'm like, yes, I would have defended you in a heartbeat. She's like, do you not know that I would have to resign if they knew what you do for a living? And I was like, no, you wouldn't. Everything I do is within the law. That's why I file taxes every year. I'm a LLC. I am within my rights. And then she said, I would lose all respect from all my employees. And I said, no, you wouldn't, because first off, I didn't talk about you. I didn't mention you. I didn't mention your job. I never talk about it. I only talk about me, myself, and I. I go by my Carson name all the time, just so that the only thing that can get back to me is my face. The dress alone was $5,000. And then she said, can't you see my side of things? Can't you see how this is embarrassing to me in my hometown? And I was like, she's like, I worked hard. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this job. I've worked every day for over a decade here. And I said, all you have to do at your job is command respect. That's why you're a manager. I was like, just command respect from them. She goes, oh, great. Make my job 4 times harder. Thanks. And I said, oh, okay. And I said, by the way, this is my hometown too. I do work hard too. I don't know. She's like, it's ruining your future and mine. And I'm like, no, it's not. I've already talked to people. It's not ruining our futures. I don't know why you're up in a tizzy about this. She said, whatever, this isn't going to work. And so I said, all right, fine. I'll make arrangements as soon as I can. And immediately, as soon as I said I was going to make arrangements as soon as possible, she said, I'm so sorry. Just know I love you so much. And, please forgive me for saying these things. I didn't really mean them. And then she apologized for 3 days, saying, don't you see how much I'm apologizing? Don't you see how sorry I am? Don't you see how hurt I am that I hurt you? And I said, it's been 4 days. 4 days at this point in the conversation. I was like, do you know that you've never asked me how I am? You've only asked, does your family hate me? Does everyone see me as a bad guy? I never want to be the bad guy. And I was like, I don't give a shit what my family thinks. I don't give a shit what my friends think. This is not about them. This is about you not defending me or standing up for me or having my back when I'm not in the room. And so she said, do you want me to stay at my sister's? And I said, yes. And then she didn't stay at her sister's. We slept in the same bed for the last 4 nights. And she kept making advances until last night when I gave in. And I was like, whatever. After that, I was like, listen, I need you to stay somewhere else. I need you to be out of the house until at least late Saturday night. I was like, and can you please drive your car? She has another car, her Jeep. So she knows I'm taking the car back. And then she goes, that's fine. Can you reset the iPhone and the iPad for me? And I said, I'm keeping the iPad. I'm keeping the iPad. I'm keeping the car.